In this video, we're going to do something a little bit different, and we're going to deep dive some of my own clips because as a snowboarder, I'm still looking for places to improve. My backside takeoffs is one of the #1 priorities I have, and that's because there's a few things wrong with them. I'm getting a little bit of drift, I'm getting a little bit of a loss of traction, and I'm getting a slight bit of drift that's really going and making it harder when I'm trying bigger tricks like 1260s. And it's going to be a serious problem when I try to move up to like triple corks. So in this video, I'm going to go and break down the problems, why they're happening, what kind of effect they're having, and how I'm planning on going and fixing them and getting the mistakes out of my riding for this upcoming season. So we have some 360s, 540s, 7s, and 9s. We only have takeoff angles because all these problems are happening on the takeoff. I'm very happy with how I'm actually rotating the spins. So we're going to start here with this backside 360. And the backside 360 is a trick that I haven't really been going and putting as much time into as I used to. I used to do this trick all the time, but I've sort of moved on to like doing more sevens and things like that. And there's a real serious issue with them, and it's right here. You can see when I'm taking off, I'm not really going and having that nice tall posture, clean edge line. Instead, I'm sort of cheating the spin a bit. I learned that you could get away with not holding a straight edge the whole way off if you just go and remove edge pressure and let yourself slide a little bit. So this is working decent, but it's not giving me the powerful backside 360 I want. And the worst thing is it's not helping me train my backside takeoffs in a way that works for bigger tricks. Because that's what backside 360 should be. They should be your gateway for working on your form and improving. So this little bit of scrub and this little bit of cheat, I'm not okay with, and I want to try to get rid of it. Because in this position right here, should be completely straight, upper body in a fine position, but just needs to be done with the board straight and not as much curvature. So here's why I think this is happening. And it's because of my setup carve. Generally for a setup carve, you want to have a smooth heel edge carve that you transition to your toes so you fly off straight. But if we compare that ideal line to my backside spin here, you're going to see that my line has a really sudden shift in between the spoon of the jump. So I go really flat base, dead straight, but I do a really aggressive heel pressure right here. And this is making it so my momentum is getting really pushed over. And when your momentum is getting pushed over like this, to counterbalance, you need to get more extreme. And we can see that right here. I'm getting onto my edge really aggressively, so much so that my upper body is leaning. So my head's in the center of a jump, but my legs are all the way back here. And because of this, it's making it so I have too much weight on the toe edge of my snowboard. And that's what's going to cause my snowboard to slightly turn and continue turning. So if I went and kept that pressure, my board would go like this, turning off the slope because there's too much toe pressure. So what I've been doing to fix that is going and removing that edge pressure, what we can see right here. Where my board would normally start to turn, I then remove the edge pressure and just let it slide off. So what I want to do is try to go and fix this because it's impacting all of my carves. So this is going to be the main problem right here. My transition from heel edge to toe edge. And the reason it's a problem is because it's putting too much pressure onto my toe edge, making it so I can't hold a clean line that fluidly goes off the jump, resulting in a little bit of breaking at the waist and a little bit of drifting. We're going to go look at the other clips and then see if we can see this, or it's just a fluky thing. These were all filmed on the same day, so it should be pretty consistent. So here we have a backside 360 on a smaller jump, but we can see the problem is actually exaggerated. The smaller the jump, the more I'm making this problem because the shorter the takeoff. When you get used to riding big jumps, your transition period is a lot longer and you have a lot more time on the takeoff. And this actually makes it easier because you have less aggression in the spoon here. So my main issue with my spins is really this transition through the spoon of a jump because as I'm transitioning, I'm going and having trouble adjusting my body. So if we go and look at this one, I'm coming in dead straight, then I go, not even dead straight, I think I have a little bit of sideways momentum going this way. So then when I go to my heel edge, I'm counteracting that sideways momentum, making it so my board's going and doing an extra long turn because it's slightly angled towards this corner and then I'm turning it, what's causing a big rounding motion. And you can really see it here where when I go and get onto my heel edge, my upper body goes like this. makes this sort of like stacked line, sort of like the form you'd have on a rail if you were onto your toe edge. And this is causing a problem because when you're going and jumping, you want to be in a straight line up the takeoff, because a straight line goes and puts you on a good platform to go and generate your momentum. You don't want any hinging in the hips, any leaning forward, because that's going to be problematic. It's also going to make it so when I'm looking at the end of a takeoff, I'm not actually looking where I'm taking off. Instead, I'm looking in the middle of the jump. So this is causing a disconnect, causing me to lean forward. So those are the two problems here. So getting onto the heels, cutting really aggressively, getting onto the toe edge, and when you have this much momentum getting onto the toe edge, it's going to be really hard to go with it. So let's go and watch that through, and you can see I'm doing the same thing, losing the edge pressure a little bit, pre-spinning a bit, just cheating the rotation. Here we have it on a 720, and you'll notice my form actually works better on the 720. I hold more edge pressure, my board's straighter. This is just because you need to be more dialed in, and I've been doing a lot more 720s. So the combination of that is letting me get that better takeoff, but the problem's still there. I'm still coming in super aggressive heel side. You can see the chutter. Look at how my board, let's zoom into the feet here. My feet are vibrating, pop, 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 pop. So that's too much chutter. You want a smooth line, not to be chundering up on your heel side approach. Set up, and I'm a little bit taller, but I'm still leaned towards this way, and my head is looking over to the center of a jump, where my board is more on the center right. So my board's taking off here, but my head is all the way over here. And we can see the problem with this if we go and look at my rotation through the air. I'm drifting. So I'm taking off here and I'm landing here. That is a decent amount of drift. It might not seem like that much, but this is enough that when you start doing like backside 900s or triple corks, you're going to go and end up landing heel heavy, or you're going to go and have a hard time killing the momentum. So we can really see on the 5. The 5 is the trick that I probably cheat the takeoff the most, just because it lets you. So here, I have my front foot getting bent up a little bit, my hips shifted, and a preemptive rotation of the board a little bit. So it's not too bad, but it's enough to make it so I come and drift all the way over here. What is too much drifting? That is like a whole quarter of a jump being drifted, where ideally we want to go straight and land straight. You want no drift in a perfect world, and I'll explain that in 1 second. I'll explain it with this 9 here. The reason why drifting is a problem is because when you come into the landing and you're drifting, you have a bunch of sideways momentum that you're going to need to deal with. So when you dig in your edge, you're actually going to need to go and under rotate a little bit, dig it in, and try to kill your sideways momentum as well as killing your impact. So that's why you want to drift as little as possible, because if you're just going straight up, coming straight down, the only impact you need to kill and momentum you need to kill is directly over your snowboard, making it a lot easier to stomp. More sideways momentum you have, the more different momentum you need to clear. So that's a problem. That's what it's doing to my riding. It's causing me to go and lean forward a bit, what's making me go and drift. So just as a recap before we get into how I'm planning on fixing this problem, I'm coming in and doing too aggressive of a heel edge turn, switching to my toe edge too fast, and then being lean forward instead of straight vertical, going off a takeoff, and this is causing my board to go, and even if it's not angled forward, my momentum is set over my toe edge too much, causing a consistent drift no matter how straight my edge line is. So how do we fix this? The easy answer is also the right answer. All I need to do is go and mellow out my heel edge carve. Mellowing out this heel edge carve will let me go and keep a more gradual transition of momentum, letting me get onto my toe edge without going and compromising my body. So how I've been training this is just going down cat tracks and practicing my setup carves, hitting the jumps, just trying to be mindful of the heel edge carve. There's another thing that I'm trying to do, and that is getting on my heel edge earlier. So see how this jump, I'm coming in slightly toe edge, then going to my heel edge, and as I transition through my heel edge, I'm going from right to left, right there, that's causing my board to get really angled sideways. But if I went and started further over to this side of a jump, then I could go and gradually get onto this angle, allowing me to get a smoother setup carve. Instead of coming like this, making my setup carve go and too aggressive and warped. So it's a very subtle difference, but I'm going to try focus on lessening the setup carve so much that I actually start to go and hopefully counter drift the other way. Counter drift, come in and just get used to that feeling of taking off very straight, very stacked. Just continue these lines instead of trying to go because that's just making it more unpredictable and hard to control. So that's my main issue I'm having with my backside spins is this little bit of drift. It's hurting my consistency. It's making some of my landings harder. And it's making it so my backside 360s are looking a little bit funky on the takeoff and not quote unquote perfect. What's not hurting me in my everyday riding, but it's hurting me for bigger tricks. And then I'm feeling it when I'm trying to do some other stuff. So I hope you guys learned something from this. It's different from what I normally do, but I think it's good to go and show you that I'm not a perfect snowboarder. I know quite a bit about snowboarding. I've been doing these tricks for a really long time, and I've learned a lot, but there's still gaps in my riding that I'm working to fill in. So every video I make, every piece of advice I get, I'm going to make it as good as I can, as qualified as I can, but just know that there isn't one answer to fixing these problems. Snowboarding's super complicated and it changes from person to person. So my main goal on this channel isn't to just tell you what you need to do, how to do it, but to go and teach you the principles that are why tricks work in a certain way and why your form is a mistake instead of just telling you it's a mistake. Because only once you can go and identify these mistakes in yourself, notice them on the mountain, that's when you can start making real progression and start progressing faster than ever. I used to ride with teams for a lot of years, so they taught me a lot of these skills, but not many people have the privilege to go and work with teams as much as I did. So as someone who worked with teams for a long time and now is off teams, I've had to learn a lot of self-coaching tools. So that's my goal with this YouTube channel and these video series is to teach people not only what you want to be doing, how to do it, where to do it, but also teach people how to go and get the tools so they can continue their progression without me and just keep thinking about it and know what to think about when snowboarding. Because this problem, I've had it for years. It's been a serious thing. And the only way I got help is I reached out to my Instagram story and I had a bunch of really good friends, a lot of pro snowboarders reach out and be like, hey, I think this and this and this is a problem. And it clicked when I said that. So just goes to show you, even if you think you know what you're doing, even if you're super dialed in, sometimes you just need another person's perspective because that one little bit of information, the different way of looking at it can be all you need to get every piece of a puzzle. So thanks you guys for watching. I hope you learned something new and we're going to go and continue this because I have more gaps in my writing that I want to cover. And I hope that through going and talking about it, showing you what I'm working through, you'll be able to go and progress your own writing. Cheers.